So welcome back. In this video you're going to look at the different types of selectors. So in brief I'll tell you first we have the element selector and its values. We also have ID selectors, and finally we have class selectors. We have our class selectors. So let's first look at element selectors. So in our HTML we have different elements, we have different tags. We have the paragraph tags, we have the div tag, we have some anchor tags, we have the body tag. What else do we have? We have another heading here, h3. This is an ordered list, some list items. So there you'll have different elements inside your HTML. So whenever you want to select an element and put in some CSS styles, what you need to do is just write it directly. Let's say this one is h3. Okay, we have h3. So when you're selecting an element which is in the HTML, you just write it as it is, h3. So in this case you have selected the h3. Let's give it underline. So this is text decoration, underline. So let's save this and let's look at it inside our browser. All the h3 tags now have an underline. This one is h1, I think. This is h2. This is h3. As you can see, it has an underline. Maybe let's change the color. Let's change the color to green. I think green yellow. Let's save this. Let's look at it in our browser. As you can see, all the h3 tags. It doesn't matter how many h3 tags you have. As long as you've selected the h3, all the h3 elements will be affected by that style. As you can see, a simple styling, h3. Let me first comment this. The body, because I see it's destructive to the eye. Yes, it's no better. Let's go back. So we've selected h3. Let's select something else. Let's say paragraph. We want all the paragraphs to have a different color. In this case, let's say red. There is a color called Rebecca Purple. Let's look at it. As you can see, all the paragraphs inside the HTML have changed. We have selected successfully the paragraph tag and applied the style color to Rebecca Purple. Finally, let's select the li elements, the li tags. So you just write li and let's give them the color. It's the color, that one. Let's refresh. So our list items are here, they're not visible at all. Let me zoom in. Maybe let's change the color to something else, brown. This is better. As you can see now, we've targeted all the list items. It doesn't matter the UL. This is an unordered list with the bullets, and this is an ordered list, but both of them are li tags. That's why the style has applied to both of them. So this is the first type, selecting the elements. As you can see, I've just put the elements as they are. The next type of selector we have is the ID selector. We have the ID selector. So if inside your HTML you have some elements with ID attributes, let's say in our line 89, in line 89 we have this heading H3 which have the ID of hobbies. We can target this specific element. In this case, how do we do it? We use the hash symbol, then the ID name. So you make sure it matches, so you can just copy and paste it. And let's change it, let's change the color to brown as well. So let's save this and refresh it. Where is it? Here it is. The hobbies has changed the color to brown, unlike the other H3 which have this green yellow color. H3s have green yellow color. As you can see, this is also a H3 tag, but because it has the ID hobbies and we've changed the element with the ID hobbies the color brown, that's why we have this one as a brown color. So this is how we select ID elements. We use the hashtag, then the ID. Let me look inside if we have another one. Okay, we have this element at line 76 which has the ID title. So let me just copy this ID the way it is. And how do I select it? Using the hash symbol, then I paste the ID, and then let's give it also a color blue. There is that one. So let me save this and let's look at it in our browser. How is it? I think this one. In line 76, class heading, yeah, the word is background. As you can see, it has a different color. Let me try blue. Refresh this, as you can see. Perfect. I'll do one more example for ID. Let me look if we have another element with an ID. Okay, let's give this paragraph an ID. This one, let's call it main paragraph. So we've given it an attribute, an ID attribute with the value main paragraph. So to make sure you have the ID correctly, so I'll just copy the word, and inside my CSS I'll start with the hash. Then let's give it a text decoration. Text decoration of underline. So as you can see, in our HTML there is only one paragraph with this ID. So let me save this. So only that paragraph will have its text as underlined, this one here. So we've seen how we select IDs inside the CSS. We use the hash symbol, then the ID name. Then finally, we have class selectors. So we use class selectors when we want different types of elements to have the same styling. So let's look at this. We have in line 36, we have this H3 tag with the class headings. I think there is also another one. Okay, line 76 also have the class headings. Also line 89, it has the class heading. So we can target all of these elements at once because they all have the class headings. So how do we target classes? So we use the dot symbol, then the name of that class. In our case it's heading, so let me just copy this and paste it here. So let's give it another style. I think font weight. Let's change the font weight to lighter. So because they're headings, previously they were bold. So let me refresh this. As you can see, they've changed it to light. They're no longer bold. All those elements with the class headings have been changed to a lighter font weight. Let's give this, let's say this paragraph, let's give it a class. Let's say last paragraph. And let me copy this. I think this is not the last paragraph, but it doesn't matter. Let me the last paragraph, and also this other section. Let's give this paragraph the same class as last paragraph. So we are going to style all the last paragraphs. So let me paste this. And let's give them a different font weight. Let's make them bold. Let me refresh this. As you can see, in this section, the last paragraph is bold, and also the other section, the last paragraph is also bold. So these are the different ways we are going to select HTML elements. The first one was if we're targeting the element as it is. As you can see in the first example, the body, the h3 tag, p tag, li tag. The next one is when we're using ID. In this case, we have an element with the ID hobbies. We selected it using the hash symbol, then the ID name. The title, we did the same, hash symbol, then title. And the last one, hash symbol, then main paragraph. Make sure the ID matches inside the HTML. Make sure the ID matches in the HTML and in the CSS. Then finally, we use the class selectors. We use the class selectors. In this case, we use the dot, then the class name. The dot symbol, then the class name. As you can see, these class headings, we targeted it using dot, then the class name, which is headings. So thank you for watching. In the next video, we'll start putting some styles inside our HTML, using the sizing, different colors, some borders, and of that sort. So thank you very much. Let's meet in our next lesson.